Last time, we saw how the British leaked out of Britain itself and sailed the world in boats. This week, we're examining the 19th century. This was a time of invention, industry, discovery, empire building, urban squalor, sexual hypocrisy, optimism, statues, painting, photograph, him, her, them and tree. It was a time when British creativity was at its peak, bringing us everything from great works of art to great works of train. A time when Britain very much entered the third episode of its history. It's the early 19th century, and Britain is in the grip of the Georgian era, a time when all English kings had to be called George. There was George III, George II, George IV and George I, though not necessarily in that order. The Georgian era saw the birth of a new artistic movement, the Romantics. They weren't like the old Romantics, which is like when your dad buys your mum a box of black magic from the service station when it isn't even her birthday. And they weren't like the new Romantics, which were all synthesizers and wind machines. Instead, they were poets and artists whose names are still familiar today. Wordsworth, Shelley, Blake, and the other ones. To find out more, I went to speak to an expert. Who was Ron?
Among the Romantics, you mean?
Yeah.
William Godwin was quite wrong. He believed that there should be no laws at all in society.
No, who's Ron?
Ron? Is there a Ron?
Yeah, the one that wrote all the poems and signed them by Ron.
Yeah, that was his family name, Byron. Lord George Byron.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.